Hey everybody, Tim here with tonight's episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 5, Episode 20, The Cost of Living. What a great episode. This episode's amazing. I mean, it has Lwaxana Troy, and any episode that has Major Barrett as Lwaxana Troy in it is going to be a great episode. Now, this episode almost got like a perfect rating for me. The only reason I didn't is because there's a lot going on, and if they would have kind of cut out a little bit here, a little bit there, I probably would have given it a perfect rating, because it's a great episode. Now, first off, so probably the main plot of this episode is Lwaxana is getting married to a minister that she's never met. She doesn't know him. She basically online dating. And the reason I want to start with that is that he is played by the amazing Tony Jay. Now, if that name doesn't ring any bells and you guys are like, who the fuck is that? He's a great actor. Look him up. I guarantee you've seen him and stuff. I mean, he's done voice acting. Like, he was in the Disney's Beauty and the Beast. He was Dr. Lipschitz in Rugrats. He was in, like, the first thing I can remember in my childhood is the live-action Beauty and the Beast with Ron Perlman and Linda Hamilton. Like, he's been in everything. He was around for years. He's a great actor. So, to see him in this, I was like, oh my god. Oh, he was even in Golden Girls. So, to see him in this, I was like, oh my god, it's Tony Jay. So he plays a very reluctant, reserved minister, which is his character. And then, I mean, you all know Lwaxana. Imagine marrying that. So it's kind of interesting. So we have this going on. Now, below that main plot, we have a subplot where Worf is having a difficult time raising Alexander. He's having it's an interesting episode because we see Worf having those father conversations where, like, Alexander says, well, I'm supposed to meet Lwaxana. No, eat your dinner. But I promised. Do you want me to break my promise? Klingons don't break their promise. But you're not going. Eat your dinner. And it's just interesting to watch Worf having those difficulties, because it's a new side of Worf that we haven't seen before. And it's a great conversation back and forth. And so now we start seeing this relationship between Alexander and between Lwaxana Troy kind of start developing, which is interesting because when we get to Deep Space Nine, Lwaxana is in a handful of episodes. And then after Worf becomes a main cast member, we see Alexander in a couple of episodes, but they're never together. And I kind of wish we would have seen like a sequel episode of this in Deep Space Nine. I think that would have been great. But alas, it never happened. So we have a lot going on with Worf and Alexander. And then beneath that, we have another subplot where something is literally eating the Enterprise. And it's turning systems into like this weird gelatinous, it looked like honey seeping through the walls. To me personally, that subplot could have totally been erased. Let's focus on Lwaxana. Let's focus on Alexander. This episode would have been great. It would have added like 15 minutes roughly if you cut out the eating subplot and put in just this. But that's just me. So Major Barrett was a star. She was such a good actress. Like, I remember watching The Cage and being like, oh, number one? Like, okay, whatever. And then as we went through the original series, seeing Nurse Chapel was like, I like Nurse Chapel. She's kind of cool, but there's nothing there. She's just here's your hypo spray, doctor. And that's it. Lwaxana is like, I can't even describe how much of a great character she is. If I ever had a daughter, I would name her Lwaxana because she's that great of a character. And like, my favorite part is where, so like I said, Lwaxana and the minister have a very difficult relationship as soon as they meet. And it's interesting because the minister and his like little minion is like just coming at Lwaxana. Like, we got to do it this way. We got to do it this way. This is inappropriate. We got to do it this way. Deanna, mother, stay away from Alexander. You're interfering. Worf and Alexander, do this. And we finally start to see Lwaxana, who is the happy, bubbly character we know, just fucking gets sick of it, and she gets overwhelmed and just leaves. Like, it's such a good scene where you can watch her become overwhelmed, because we've all felt that way at some point where everybody was just coming at us and you're like, just leave me the fuck alone, like, give me 5 minutes to breathe. But you can't imagine Lwaxana having those moments. And it brings such heartwarming scenes where every time she talks to Deanna, she's always, oh, little one, do this, oh, little one, do that. And when she talks to Alexander, it's my little warrior. And it's so great. And you can finally start seeing that motherly characteristics come out of her. Like, God, if I would, like, you always see, like, Facebook and stuff where it's like, if you could meet, like, one celebrity, who would it be? Major Barrett would probably be the celebrity. Maybe I'd be disappointed. Maybe she's probably nothing like this in real life. But I would love to meet her because she just seems so amazing. Now, the best part about this whole episode is you finally get to the end, and during this whole episode, Lwaxana is telling Alexander, be true to yourself, be who you are. And everybody's like, well, what are you doing marrying this guy you've never met, and you're breaking your traditions and stuff. And finally, it gets to the wedding scene where Picard is like, I will happily do this because I would love to give her away. And Major Barrett walks in buck naked. Like, and evidently that's the Betazoid custom, and it's great. This is now the second time she's been naked. The first one was the Ferengi episode, but she just walks in buck naked. The minister freaks out. His minion freaks out. They leave. It's a great scene. And the best part is Alexander's like, you did it. You were you. You did yourself. It's perfect. And she winks at him. There's a gif of it. I'm going to try to find it. But it's a great, great scene. And it's interesting because this little snippet we don't actually see it, but we hear about it later on when we get to Nemesis, where when Riker and Troy decide to get married, they have an Earth wedding for Riker and they have a Beta Z wedding for Troy. And there's this whole great scene where Worf's like, I don't want to do it. And Picard's like, you're going to do it. I'm going to go to the gym, but you're going to do it. It's fantastic. So for those who have seen this one, I think this is the second to last episode that we see Lwaxana as far as the Next Generation. And then we'll see her again in Deep Space Nine. But what do you guys think about Lwaxana? Go ahead, let me know. Thank you guys for everything. You guys are amazing. What do you guys think about Alexander as well? I can't forget him. I apologize. Lwaxana and Alexander, the main points of this episode. Go ahead, let me know. Thank you guys for everything, and I will see you guys next time for the great episode, The Perfect Mate.